Neville Goddard, Your Faith is Your Fortune, Chapter 17, Prayer. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Matthew 6:6. What things soever ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Mark 11:24. Remember prayer. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, right here, you've closed these, this is shutting your door. Pray to thy Father, right here, this is your imagination at work, which is in secret. And thy Father, your imagination, which seeth in secret, shall reward thee openly. Oh, it doesn't get better than that. I just love the way Neville breaks it down. It makes it so digestible and easy to understand. Prayer is the most wonderful experience man can have. Unlike the daily murmurings of the vast majority of mankind in all lands who by their vain repetitions hope to gain the ear of God, prayer is the ecstasy of a spiritual wedding taking place in the deep, silent stillness of consciousness. In its true sense, prayer is God's marriage ceremony. Just as a maid on her wedding day relinquishes the name of her family to assume the name of her husband, in like manner, one who prays must relinquish his present name or nature and assume the nature of that for which he prays. Assume the nature of that for which he prays. I am all that is, God, right here. This is your self-concept. This is the one you want to be. This is where you are now. Remember, there's infinite amount of mansions available. You're here and you want to be here. Just as a maid on her wedding day relinquishes the name of her family to assume the name of her husband, in like manner, one who prays, impressing your subconscious or impressing yourself, one who prays must relinquish his present name or nature and assume the nature of that for which he prays. The Gospels have clearly instructed man as to the performance of this ceremony in the following manner. When ye pray, go within in secret and shut the door, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. The going within is the entering of the bridal chamber. Just as no one but the bride and groom are permitted to enter so holy a room as the bridal suite on the night of the marriage ceremony. Likewise, no one but the one who prays and that for which he prays are permitted to enter the holy hour of prayer, as the bride and groom on entering the bridal suite securely shut the door against the outside world. So too must the one who enters the holy hour of prayer close the door of the senses and entirely shut out the world round about him. This is accomplished by taking the attention completely away from all things other than that with which you are now in love, the thing desired. We just went over that, the Father, the Mother, and the Son. This is where the bride and groom are. And when you shut the door to your senses, the bride and groom are doing their business. Conception is happening. You're taking your attention away from all things. You're going into, your eyes are shut, and you're going into your meditation, your I am. You're seeing that thing that you desire. The second phase of this spiritual ceremony is defined in these words: when ye pray, believe that ye receive, and ye shall receive. As you joyfully contemplate being and possessing that which you desire to be and to have, you have taken this second step and are therefore spiritually performing the acts of marriage and generation. Your receptive attitude of mind while praying or contemplating can be likened to a bride or womb, for it is that aspect of mind which receives the impressions. The impressions are received. Receptive. That which you contemplate being is the groom. That which you contemplate being is the groom. For it is the name or nature you assume, and therefore it is that which leaves its impregnation. So one dies to maidenhood or present nature as one assumes the name and nature of the impregnation. One dies and one assumes. How simple. Lost in contemplation and having assumed the name and nature of the thing contemplated, your whole being thrills with the joy of being it. This thrill, which runs through your entire being as you appropriate the consciousness of your desire, is the proof that you are both married and impregnated. As you return from this silent meditation, the door is once more opened upon the world you had left behind. But this time you return as a pregnant bride. You go into meditation, you give birth to the new reality, and when you return as the pregnant bride. You enter the world a changed being, and although no one knows but you knows of this wonderful romance, the world will in a very short while see the signs of your pregnancy, for you will begin to express that which you in your hour of silence felt yourself to be. Wow. Back to the Wednesday through Sunday concept. If you impregnate yourself with the idea of your actual literal relationship and marriage, that is you, I am that I am. When you impregnate yourself in your imagination, in your meditation, in your sats when you're falling asleep, you become impregnated with that idea. You return to your world, you wake up in this expression, but you are impregnated with this idea. No one knows it but you have done the work necessary. Remember, 4D, all motion, which is in Genesis, all motion happens when he moved upon the face of the waters. All motion happens inside in 4D first. So when you do this impregnation, that's your 4D, that's your impression. That's where reality actually is. Then in your 3D is the shadow. This is where its becoming begins to show up. And as it shows up here, that's when you become here. The bridge of incidence occurs and you meet somebody, then you're all of a sudden in a relationship and you're knee deep, neck deep in love. Before you know it, that which you prayed is now, you are now receiving. You've actually made it happen. You created that reality for yourself. You're doing this all the time already. You're already doing it. You're doing it with your work. You're doing it with your play. You're doing it with relationships. You're continuously doing it with a pizza. I love the simple example, but it's continuously happening already. You're already pretty dang good at it. We just want to change the focus to become consciously aware of doing it. The mother of the world or bride of the Lord is purposely called Mary or water. For water loses its identity as it assumes the nature of that with which it is mixed. Likewise, Mary, the receptive attitude of mind, must lose its identity as it assumes the nature of the thing desired. Fascinating. Only as one is willing to give up his present limitations and identity can he become that which he desires to be. You have to detach. You will detach. If you're going to spend time, I laugh, but it isn't funny because it's too funny. If you're going to spend time going through the effort of creating this new reality for yourself so that you all of a sudden wind up here, that means this needs your focus. If you're going to spend time in the supposed other place or this supposed other place, which we know they don't exist, if you're going to spend time in either of these bubbles, you're losing it. You're sinning. A sin is when you're missing the mark. And I don't think we've covered that yet. Neville says, as he's interpreted this scripture, which is wonderful, sinning is when you're missing the mark. It's when you're not becoming that which you desire to be. If you're here and you're looking back and you're stuck living in the past, you're creating the past in lifetime. It's not, the past doesn't exist, so you're actually creating it by focusing on it. So if you're doing that here, you're looking back like Lot's wife, okay? If you're looking back like Lot's wife, you're staying put, even though your desire is heavy upon you. Your desire to be here is very heavy. But if you become static here because of a habit, this is sin. This is missing the mark. Or a habit here. A habit could be here when I get this, when I get that. Or this happened to me in the past. I was hurt in a relationship. I don't want to take the risk. This is not real. These don't exist. You have to get rid of this attitude. I know it sounds simple, and sometimes it cannot be simple, but it's a habit. You realize what is happening with your impression, and you open yourself up to the risk of a new experience. Because you weave into that experience safety. I live in a safe universe. All men are loving, caring, nurturing. You weave that into your impression here, and then your bridge of incidence delivers that which you give birth to. Two shall agree as touching anything, and it shall be established on earth. The two agreeing are you, the bride, and the thing desired, the groom. A passive and an active principle. You are the bride, you're the passive principle, and the active principle, that's the groom. Previous chapter, we talked about the mother, father, and son. It's the same thing. You're the bride giving birth to the concept. You're doing the impression in your sats before you're falling asleep, and you're giving birth to the active, the passive and the active. This is the active becoming. Thought is passive. The action is active. The showing up of it in 3D is the action, the positive, the male. The two agreeing are you, the bride, and the thing desired, the groom. As this agreement is accomplished, a son bearing witness of this union will be born. You begin to express and possess that which you are conscious of being. Bridge of incidence. Praying, then, is recognizing yourself to be that which you desire to be rather than begging God for that which you desire. And I believe I had it off a little bit, because remembering from the last chapter, you're desiring it, and then the groom. This is what's giving birth to the son. The actual experience of it. The becoming in 3D. You begin to express and possess that which you are conscious of being. Praying, then, is recognizing yourself to be that which you desire to be rather than begging God for that which you desire. If you're going to beg God, you're only begging yourself. Millions of prayers are daily unanswered because man prays to a God who does not exist. Consciousness being God, consciousness being God, one must seek in consciousness for the thing desired by assuming the consciousness of the quality desired. Only as one does this will his prayers be answered. And this can be the trickiest part of the whole thing, but again, you're already doing it all the time. Of the thing desired. Let's repeat this piece right here. Consciousness being God, one must seek in consciousness for the thing desired by assuming the consciousness of the quality desired. One must seek in consciousness of the thing desired by assuming the consciousness of the thing desired. This is the relationship. This is the happy married life right here. This is the unmarried, not happy, single self. You bring this union of the mother and father of the idea. You are the mother and father of the idea of what you want to experience. And how you're getting there is through consciousness, is through God. Consciousness being God, one must seek in consciousness for the thing desired by assuming the consciousness of the quality desired. Only as one does this will his prayers be answered. There's the answer of the prayer, the experience. To be conscious of being poor while praying for riches is to be rewarded with that which you are conscious of being, namely poverty. Oh, I would say that in a large part of the community of the Neville Goddard material, does focus in this department. And I want to focus in the relationship department because this is the one I've experienced. And this is the one that was very, very important to me. Seems to be my whole life. So I want to stay focused on that. But this is very, very important too. Because wealth is yours also. Love is yours also. Health is yours. These are kind of like your actual rights because you are of Him. He isn't sick. He isn't poor that gave you birth, that made you. And He isn't lonely. He isn't without love. He is all giving. You are all of it. I am all of it. We have any mansion we want to live in. So to be convinced of poverty, if that's what's happening here, let's say, then we have to bring together the idea of the consciousness of being wealthy. Very, very important point. To be conscious of being poor while praying for riches is to be rewarded with that which you are conscious of being, namely poverty. Prayers to be successful must be claimed and appropriated. Assume the positive consciousness of the thing desired. I don't know. I just watched, we just rewatched Trading Places for probably the 100th time. Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis. What an amazing movie. And it very much talks about this exact idea. It was just hilarious to watch that because it's a blast from the past, but it was the exchanging of their roles, Dan Aykroyd being the wealthy person and Eddie Murphy coming from the street and from poverty. And these two guys exchanged them into each other's roles to see what would happen, and they bet $1 on what would happen. And it's a good movie. It's funny. It's quite entertaining. But it is very much along the lines of this poverty concept. To be conscious of being poor while praying for riches is to be rewarded with that which you are conscious of being, namely poverty. Prayers to be successful must be claimed and appropriated. Prayers to be successful must be claimed and appropriated. Assume the positive consciousness of the thing desired. With your desire defined, quietly go within and shut the door behind you. Shut the door behind you. Lose yourself in your desire. Feel yourself to be one with it. Remain in this fixation until you have absorbed the life and name by claiming and feeling yourself to be and to have that which you desired. When you emerge from the hour of prayer, you must do so conscious of being and possessing that which you have heretofore desired. When you come out of your prayer, you are experiencing it. If you're bringing Sunday to Wednesday, you're in the feeling of Sunday. Whatever the thing you desire is what you're feeling of experiencing. And when you come back and when you open your eyes out of that prayer, you feel that. It works on so many levels. And it really is taking the practice into your small experiences. Like I said about the parking space, like I said about the pizza. I'm giving these small examples in this workup because they're where you see it working. You're already doing it. How is it you're already doing it? How is it you know that you are already doing it? And how is it you know you've changed? There's a lot of little examples in your life already that you are going through that prove this out. So just be perceptive, be aware of what it is you're doing, because these are rewards of understanding that this law works, because you already are practicing it and you're already very, very good at it. Woo, man, what a good chapter. Aren't they all? Prayer. I thought that was going to be a much longer chapter, but it was actually pretty short. It's a couple pages, but it is very, very important. All right, we'll see you in the next video.